What is up? Welcome to Drifting into Freedom. So it's been 6 months, y'all, since I've been living in my car. Yes, 6 months. Boy, has the time flown. I mean, it has gone fast like lightning. And so today, what I want to talk about is some of the things that I've learned. And, I want to really dive in to kind of give you an update as to whether I'm still loving this whole experience, or am I ready to go put a down payment down on an apartment? So let's get into it. So overall, my experience as far as me living in my car has been amazing. Again, don't get me wrong, I still have my ups and downs. I'm human. I have good days, I have bad days. Just like I have days when I'm ready to quit, like today. I'm waiting for the AAA guy to show up. And he shows up 4 hours later, and I'm just sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, did I make the right decision? So sometimes, I'm human. I have doubts. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I love it. Especially when payday comes, because like I said, I'm able to put more money down towards my debt. So, there are a lot of benefits to living in your car. And again, if you are starting your journey, take your time, test it out, see if this is something you like. Maybe even do a little car camping on the weekends just to see if you like it. Because like I said before, living in your car is not for everyone. So you just want to make sure that you outweigh your pros and cons before you take the full dive into taking this leap of faith. So the other day I received a message from someone asking me how long it took for me to adjust to car life. So here it goes. When I first started my journey into basically living in my car, I started it around October. So kind of closer towards the end of the month of October. So, of course, around that time, a couple weeks later, it was Thanksgiving. And then a couple weeks later, it was Christmas. So I'm not going to lie. My adjustment was a little bit different compared to someone who just went straight into it. And what I mean by different is, during the holiday, I went to Philadelphia. I did some traveling. We went to New York. So I stayed with family and friends. So a lot of times what would happen was I would, spend 2 weeks in my car, and then 2 weeks later, I'm heading to Philadelphia to go stay with my family. And so it kind of, so you have that period in there where 1 minute I'm getting adjusted, but then the next minute I'm like, did I, having second thoughts, like, did I make the right decision? So I'm not gonna lie, I honestly want to say my real full-time car experience started around January, February. That was honestly when I was completely just straight up living in my car. And I've been living in my car without breaks, besides, going to the Airbnbs to do my hair occasionally. Those are really the only breaks that I typically have at the moment. But for me, so give or take, I want to say it took me 3 months to adjust. But like I said, my situation could be totally different from your situation. So I don't want that to scare you in any way whatsoever. Also want to say that this journey has definitely taught me to be patient, because let me tell you, today I literally spent 4 hours waiting for AAA to come and basically help me with my car. And what ended up happening was for some reason, my car wheel locked up. Apparently, I didn't put enough strength on the actual wheel in general. I was afraid that the actual key was gonna get stuck inside of the key compartment. So I kind of was like, nah, I think I'm gonna call AAA. And so they ended up taking 4 hours to get here. So this situation definitely teaches you how to be patient, because this is your home. So at the end of the day, when something does go wrong, which, let's be honest, nothing's perfect. These are just different things that you have to be prepared for. These are different things that you have to be patient with. Again, the AAA guy tells me I wouldn't have never been able to actually break the key inside the key ignition. But at the end of the day, I'm going with my gut instinct, because at the end of the day, I didn't want it to end up costing me any money, which is why I called them. So yeah. And since we're on the topic of how long it took me to adjust, I'm going to tell you this adjustment, or at least my adjustment, was not an easy process, only because, like I said, I went back and forth. It was during the holidays, so I went back and forth, between living in my car, staying with family and friends during the holiday. So I'm not gonna lie, I can't tell you how many times I've had my moments where I'm just like, man, did I make the right decision? Because, I miss sleeping in a bed. I miss cooking in the kitchen. I just miss, having normal things around me. So again, kind of going back to that topic, car life is not for everyone. It's one of those things where you have to really test it out and see if this is going to be something beneficial to you. And then if it's not, you might just need to find something that's going to fit or align with your overall plan. Since we're on the topic of plans and goals, listen, just because you live in your car is not the end of the world. I think it's really important to make sure that you are setting goals no matter what. I don't care if you live in your car. I don't care if you live with your parents. I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, when you are trying to work on these goals, to me, it's a huge achievement, because, when I'm able to check off something, it just makes me feel really good. Like, for example, I was able to finally pay off my personal credit card. It took me forever. Like, when I say it took me forever, I was just like, when, it was almost like I was paying my credit card, but for some reason, no matter how many times I paid, and obviously if you pay the minimum, it's going to take you longer to pay off any type of debt because of the interest. So, living in my car actually allowed me to actually put more money on my credit card, which helped me to pay it off. So, that was one of the goals that I wanted to achieve while living in my car. But it was just the fact that I was able to pay it off. And, it makes me feel good, because it's like, man, I achieved at least one goal. So I think having a goal, having a plan, having a strategy is very important. Again, whether you live in your car or live in your mom's basement, again, I don't care where you live, but I just think it's very important, because now I can focus on, investing. I can start focusing on other things. And I try to stress that to anyone I know. Family, friends, y'all are family at this point. Look, we broke bread, which means y'all are my family now. So yeah, I think it's really important to have a goal. I also think it's very important to realize that living in your car is a learning curve. I've only been living in my car for 6 months. I'm no expert, so things that I did originally in my journey, I've switched things up. If you watch my video night routine, I completely switched up my night routine, only because, sometimes certain things don't work out. I think sometimes, when you're starting any new journey, sometimes you think that you need to be an expert, but it's like, at the end of the day, I'm still learning. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know. I'm like a student, I'm like a sponge, so I'm willing to learn and see what other people do, just so I can see if it aligns with my methods, or maybe seeing if I need to change up some stuff. So I think that when you do live in your car, having an open mind, being that sponge to absorb, is very, very important, because at the end of the day, not only is it going to help you to modify what you're already doing, it might even help you to modify it to the point where you're doing things easier now. So, It's all a learning curve, but I have absolutely no regrets. Also, I think it's very important to have a strong support system, because when you live in your car, there are certain people and certain negative energies around you that are sometimes not going to agree with what you're doing. You know, I can't tell you how many times when I tell people I live in my car, they're like, oh, are you okay? Do you have money? Like, you know, I have a job, you know, I'm working. It's a choice, you know? So I think when people think of this whole idea of you living in your car, they immediately label you in a sense. And I just think it's really important just to make sure that you have the right people in your corner who are supporting you, because there are going to be moments when you want to give up, but then you have your people around you where they're rooting for you. You know, come on, y'all can do it. You know, you can do it. It always feels good. And I use it in a sense as a reminder to help me to keep focusing, to help me to keep going, to help me to never give up. Because at the end of the day, you know, I chose this lifestyle for a reason. Now, don't get me wrong. I do understand that there are people out there who have no other choice but living in their car. And I do understand that. But at the end of the day, just because you live in your car doesn't mean your life stops. And that's the point I'm trying to make. You know, living in your car has many, many benefits. And like I said, I've been living in my car now for 6 months. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have no regrets. I mean, the fact that I was able to finally pay off my personal credit card, and I've had this personal credit card for years. But, you know, I was just living back in the day. Prior to me living in my car, I was living paycheck to paycheck. And, you know, I was lucky if I had $40 in my bank account sometimes. So the fact that I was able to at least eliminate my debt, I mean, your situation may be different. You might be just trying to save money or whatever the case may be, to buy a house, buy a car. You know, we all have different journeys, but for me, it was paying off my debt. You know, that was my goal. That was my purpose. You know, so I think that's again, going back to that goal, I think it's very, very important to make sure that you are setting goals, you know, when you're living in your car. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment down below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel as we drift into freedom together. See you soon. And you asked for it, so it looks like we're taking a little miniature road trip.